Joe Lynam joins us once more at the Business News. Joe, we all claim to be green and aim to at least be sustainable, but tell us what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, we do claim to be green, and we all want to kind of think of the planet and recycle and all that stuff. But a study from Future Proof Insights seems to suggest that consumers are much slower to change their behaviour than they say they are. And advertisers know it as well. It all bodes ill for a more sustainable economy. Seán Higgins is the Managing Director of Future Proof Insights. Good morning, Seán.
Good morning, Joe. Thanks for having me on today.
Seán, you've looked into consumer behaviour on behalf of advertisers. What did you find?
Yeah, so I suppose just for context, our responsibility as a Neuroscience research service is to help our clients create more impactful experiences for consumers. And what we've seen over the last decade is that shifting consumers towards more sustainable behaviours is a challenge, and it's going to come at a great cost, time and resources. But what we've repeatedly kind of found in our studies is that there isn't much evidence to suggest that while our attitudes as consumers have changed towards sustainability, it's not driving the same level of business impact and proportional changes in pro-environmental behaviour and purchasing.
So advertisers hope to steer us towards more sustainable behaviour, but it doesn't have the same impact as when they do just traditional promotions that kind of say, well, here's the product and here's the price.
Exactly. So, like we looked at kind of traditional advertising where you might have a creative or an emotional kind of hook. And what we found that things like that and promotional, as you mentioned, is over 10 times more effective at driving the brain activity that predicts purchases more than, communicating about sustainability or your credentials in that space.
Yeah. So people, when they go to the supermarket, they're in such a rush and they're picking so many products off the shelves. They're not really processing that, is this product, has it come a long distance and is it recyclable? And what about the packaging? They don't have time to do that though, do they?
Exactly. Look, if you look at it from the consumer's point of view, everybody's very busy. We've a million and one things going on. So what we like to view shopping and purchasing as is a subconscious process. So this thing happens at a split second, and we make these decisions based on emotions and motivations and reward systems. So what we need to do is frame sustainability in a different way and look at it from a different lens to achieve our objectives, because it's not that it's not important. It's just that it doesn't form part of the purchase decision for consumers.
Now, what do advertisers need to do then to change our behaviour?
So I think they need to look at it in terms of category relevance. So in terms of things like automotive, where it is really prevalent and it fits, well then sustainability communications will make sense. But for things like commodities, it's almost nearly better to steer. What we found in the data is it's actually better for brands to stay clear, advertisers to stay away from there, and maybe use their resources in more kind of prudent ways that can really drive effect in the market and maybe more of a push effect than a pull and facilitate sustainability more than try and motivate sustainable behaviours.
So the more expensive the product, whether it's furniture or a car, the more sustainable the advertising can be.
Yes, I suppose the logic would be that there's, for luxury products and more expensive products, there's a greater level of consideration, and consumers are more willing to take a more mental effort to evaluate the decisions that makes the sustainable message more receptive. So I suppose the premise is we deliberate more on expensive products, and it facilitates the message and the evaluation of sustainable credentials.
Seán, thank you. That's Seán Higgins, the Managing Director of Future Proof Insights. Do you guys, when you go into the supermarket, do you think long and hard before you put something in your trolley?
No.
Yeah.
And there lies the difference between myself
I do think
and
about it. I do.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that just have to go in. Like you don't think about milk, you don't think about butter, you don't think about bread.
Do you think about the wrapping and whether it's recyclable
I think
paper?
about the wrapping. I think about where it's come from.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't always
How
think.
do you have room in your head? I think about none
It
of
must
these
take you
things.
about 4 hours to do the shop.
It doesn't take that long. You just have a quick scan. But I'm not saying I always then don't get that product because of that. But I do try and get things that are locally produced and don't have loads of packaging on them.
The St. Shane of North Dublin.
He's probably doing the right thing. I just my head is just crammed full of crap. I can't think about anything else. That's the truth.
That's a technical term, is it?
Crammed full of crap. Exactly. Thank you for that, Joe. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.